Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. All right, we back at it again. We back at it again. What we doing? Back at it for the win. Try to see if I can get some people going and come in here before I get started. Get started before I get started. And I might even go ahead and drop the link because I'm gonna try to stay on for about 30 minutes, get hot 30, then I'm gonna be out of here. Like the ghost, I'm out of here. So basically as it stands, you know, uh you got people want money, and what are you gonna do to get money? And as you see the thumbnail, you see a man and a woman on a stack of cash. Shout out to Wanda Budget and Beyond. You know, this is part one of this. I'm actually gonna go into a part two, a part three, part four, maybe even a part five with this. Because this is where I go into the gender talk. You know, I normally typically try not to do gender talk because, you know, this is the whole back and forth between man and woman, who's better, who's equal, who's greater, and all this. And typically you get these moments to where people are fighting about this, like, you know, what's gender the best, not even going into the people saying that we got 13 genders now. I mean, it's kind of crazy, it's kind of spooky. But nevertheless, when it comes down to it, you literally have these issues amongst men and women who are trying to get married and who are going into this blindsided because you was never taught this. You know, your mother never set you down. You know, the old thing back in the day was always the birds and the bees. You know, your mama got to finally sit down and teach you the birds and the bees. Why your mama and daddy never set you down and talk to you about finance? You know, because that would make most of our relationships a lot better. You would tend to marry according, you know, a certain type of way. You would tend to look at life differently. I was just looking at a video on Instagram, which I think I posted on my Facebook. I'm gonna see if I can stream record it and post it to my YouTube. But basically showing how in some cases with some black people, they want to be the richest, but they're the poorest. They want to be the loudest, but they the brokest. It's got to add that EST on there. And when it comes down to it, you know, let's don't get it twisted now. No, this is not just a black thing. Across all races, we tend to want to be the best and want to show like how we're better, but we broke. You know, I said I talk about how guard races and stuff like that. We don't too much hear about two rich white and black guys fighting over racism because they know the dynamics is not about color, it's about wealth. I see Dave Chappelle go against oh, I'm gonna beat somebody up because he's white, or it's a class thing. And furthermore, we're missing out because, you know, that's my okay, dang, it's chat is kind of jumping to where I can't even tap on people, but because I want to stay getting into it and just highlight you as you're coming in. But overall, the craziness with all this, like when you start talking about money, you ruffling feathers, you know, because hey, we can be entertained all day. I can entertain you by telling you about love and hip hop. They over there fighting. I can entertain you about what's the latest, what's Cynthia G, what's going on with her page. I can, tell you the latest on all this entertainment news, what's going on in the media and everything. But how many people sitting down really talking about money? That's even getting it twisted about celebrities. Me and my wife are always talking, and I'm constantly telling her when it come down to it, I don't measure my life to celebrities, and you shouldn't either. You know, don't look at Kim Kardashian and say, "Well, Kim Kardashian has a good life. She don't work. She don't this and that." Are you willing to do what Kim Kardashian do? Are you willing to go out there and do what she do and have all stardom and become famous? So I noticed that I think he's like an activist and stuff, but he has two wives. So the crazy part about this is, and oh man, how sweet this is. So my cousin's wife, me and her was talking with my cousin about, you know, this guy was getting on the cheesecake woman, and this, like I said, I don't know the guy's last name or whatever. I know his first name is Kevin something. He's a big YouTuber and stuff, but he has two wives, and he was getting on the woman from the Cheesecake Factory, but mainly getting on the guy who took her out, was trying to, take her for the woman. Hey, for the woman, woman power, this and that. And so when it come down to it, I was laughing. You like this guy? Yeah, he talks some real. That's all she was going at. Yeah, he preached the real. He know about this and he know about that. And the first thing I asked her, I was like, so this guy's real and he's this and he's that? Yeah. I say, so are you willing to let your husband, which is my cousin, have another wife simply because that's what Kevin got? Kevin speaks the real. So why not let, you know, him do the same thing as Kevin? Since you like Kevin. Oh no, 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 I don't like him like that. And so when it come down to it, it was just funny how, that situation spent. Same thing with my wife. I was talking to my wife, and she was telling me a conversation about a guy on YouTube that was talking about porno. This is getting off subject, but just basically it's coming back around. It's all going into that. I got to do it one time. I ain't did it in a long time. Them feelings. So when it come down to it, though, like this guy was saying all this crazy stuff like about porno, about men who watch porno. There's something wrong with that man. And like I particularly told my wife, I was like, as it turned, who watches porno for the other sex unless you're into that? I mean, watches porno for the same sex unless you're into something like that, you know? And my wife was like, yeah, I never thought about it like that. I say, yeah, because this guy is tapping into your emotional and your feeling side, and that will get you overwhelmed in the conversation to where he's right. Same thing with Kevin Samuels in some cases. A lot of men, it tapped in their emotions and they felt a certain way. And now we're double back into the topic. When it comes down to it, like I said, shout out to Wanda. She gave me this to grow on. Wanda, Budget and Beyond. Men and women, I don't see a man in this day and time unless he's making well over two, maybe 300,000. 100,000 is not enough to sustain a family on a certain lifestyle. You you can have 100,000 and stay in a nice house, but you're gonna pay for that nice house. You can have 100,000, stay somewhere like in the hood, you know, get you a fixer upper house over time, put money into it, and you can save money like that. Get you a modest car, no Mercedes, a modest car, Hondas, and, I guess you say domestic instead of imports, and live a comfortable life. Your kid have to go to a rough school, and, just you teach them at home. You can live off 100,000. You know, personally, I don't make 100,000. Me and my wife together, we're close to 100,000. It's not that we're struggling because we know our means, but at the same time, it takes me and my wife to facilitate our lifestyle. And breaking it down, like I said, this guy has to make over 200,000, and he's being the breadwinner of the family. There's certain things that he's going to be contributing to any conversation regarding money. Most women won't ever try to sign up for it. And that's what that man taking over the finances, and the wife has to check in with her husband before she even make the commitment to even doing anything with money. You know how rough that is in a situation when you're used to doing things that you want. You could just pick up your card and swipe it and go buy and do whatever you want. Now you can't. Like, that's the crazy part, you know, because when you're making a certain amount of money, you have to sustain life to a degree to where it's certain things you're not gonna, be able to do. It's certain, things you're not gonna be allowing your significant other to do. So you have to at all costs, you know, alarm yourself with, hey, I can't buy this dress. I can't go on this trip. My husband makes all the money. A lot of people don't take that into consideration. A lot. And when I say a lot, I do mean a lot. When you're the breadwinner of the family, there's certain things that, you have to discuss, and some things are not even upon discussion. You're not spending all this money. See, even with the whole situation with Kevin Samuels that I've always listened to, and I never agreed with everything the guy said, but in most cases, when he talk about the men having options and all this type of stuff, it comes to that point to where if this man is the breadwinner, he's making all the money. Excuse me, little dry throat right there. But he's making all the money. He's setting the rules, you know. And in this day and time, it's hard for women to adapt to something like that. Back in the day, it was nothing for a man to come in, take care of the family, and tell his significant other, his woman, that she need to do certain things, and everybody's on board because why? That woman is looking at that man being the leader, protector, and provider of his family, of the family, and she doesn't have to work. That was gratitude. Nowadays, that's a slap in the face because the system has put people against each other. You know, the system has put, I always talk about society standards to where we're back and forth with each other. And regarding money, it makes it even worse because we typically don't even know finance. We typically don't know money. We don't know how to invest. We don't know how to do certain things to grow our money. How many people typically invest into stock? How many people have life insurance? Some of the things that I talk about, shout out to Lisa J. Stocks. It's in her name. Wanda Budget and Beyond. It's in her name. These are some of the people that come to my channel, and I go to their channel, and abundant mindset to, not gain popularity, but gain wealth, you know. And when it comes down to it, we have situations to where, you know, having ourselves and shout out underrated. I got you today. I got my truck and I got the thing in my truck, so I'm gonna shoot it today. But and then we also have a broke farmer that stepped in here. But the abundant mindset of investing, a lot of people are not doing that. You know, when we have situations to where we can have an understanding that you're marrying someone not just for the purpose of the looks and aesthetics, that you can go farther in a relationship together by working together. You know, Wanda Budget and Beyond, we had the conversation, doing her silent. And I kind of like the silent chats, because I mean, the silent videos to where we were back and forth in the chat, just sending messages, conversating. And I'm like, it kind of slows the pace down to where you're reading, getting informed, also talking amongst, people in the chat. And the thing of it was, like, she was right. I don't think we're ever going back to that. I don't think it's going to ever be a moment to where, you know, men are just going to take over all the bills, run the house like that, and the woman's not going to be able to do nothing but just sit on her butt or take care of the kids, clean the house to an extent like that. Most of the time, those days are gone. I mean, you have, like I said, some cases to where some people make money and they make at least, I say, 100 to two. You can sustain life with 100,000, but everything that comes with that, if you want the nice car, kids in a great school, so that means you're paying for that stuff. Everything has a cost. What the guy say on Hustle and Flow? Yeah, that's quality right there. See, now with quality, you gotta pay for that. Remember when he was in there with the microphone? See, y'all gotta remember your movie quotes. But basically, when it comes down to it, men and women working together, that 50-50, whatever how you want to call it, you pay this bill, I pay this bill. Men who have money, yes, that's great. You can make your woman stay home and she don't have to work. But when something happens to that man, everybody is bound to happen. Not saying that everybody gets hurt, everybody goes through down times, but there's times where some men, they'll have a situation. Say something happens. I knew a guy. This guy pays all his bills in the house. His woman don't do nothing but pay the cell phone bill, and she has a job. When it come down to it, sorry about this. I gotta. Okay, yeah, good. And Wanda is in the building. I was just talking about you, Wanda. But the thing of it is, this guy got into an accident on his motorcycle. Got into an accident on his motorcycle. Has nothing to do with work. How was he able to? And his job is physical, say the least. He drives trucks. He couldn't even drive the truck. He had to sit out for a whole month. Luckily, he had money on reserve to where he was good. But in most cases like this, how can a person sustain a month? Most people live paycheck to paycheck. We know the statistics. Most people $500 from being, you know, evicted, or to a degree, anything like an accident or something happens, they're pretty much behind the eight ball. I told you when my roof, I had a hole in my roof. I had to fix that. It was right over my kid's bedroom. A tree branch fell over, and it was going to get worse over time. Luckily, I had the warranty to protect me. I didn't have $5,000 to pay for that roof. I didn't have $2,200 to pay for my AC when it went out. Right when the summer was about to end, I could say, okay, well, I'll just fix it next year. Doggone, my refrigerator, I didn't know how expensive refrigerators were with that. But I had the home warranties. I had things that helped me to sustain, you know, if me and my wife had to pay for it, yeah, we would have had to sell some stocks. Um, I have a lot of stuff that I can sell. I can go into the savings and dip into there a little bit. You know, she has a 401k. She can go in there and pull some. There's multiple ways we can do it, but that's teamwork working together. She's not saying, "Oh, this ain't my job. I ain't paying for no water heater. I ain't paying for no roof. That's the man's job." I literally seen a video where a woman was like, "I'm tired of working. I don't want to work no more." She quit her job, and he was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. You quit your job, and why you do that? Cause I'm tired of working. I shouldn't be working. You the man. You should be the one taking care of the bills." And the guy was like, "This is our house, right?" She's like, "Yeah, it's our house. I stand here, you stand here, but you're responsible for all the bills." This day and age, 50-50 kind of goes a lot farther than it used to be, because back in the day, the women didn't work. The men, had great jobs. A lot of men warehouse jobs and been on the job for 30 years. Ask anybody that's under the age of, I would say, 40, and ask them how long have they been on their job. In most cases, the most I've heard, 10 years. I think the longest I've been on the job, my old job, and I worked this job straight out of high school, was 12 years. I was on that job for 12 years before I quit. The industry that I was in, I was doing that for 20 years before I walked away from it. You don't have that nowadays. And saying the least, with men and women working together, once again, for the greater good, helping with the bills, not just this man pay all the bills. Now, like I said, in some cases, if you can afford it, then so be it. But what is the woman doing with her money? Oh, you shouldn't worry about what she does with her money. Hey, we can say that all day, but you know, when something unexpected happens, you know, you get your leg chopped off, you know, you have to sit in the hospital with a illness for about 12 months. Say the least. I'm not going to refer to the person, but I talked to, but one of their family members, great job, been on this job for years. Unfortunately, his wife hasn't worked since the kids were young. Their kids like 20. I think she had a son that's like 20 now, and the daughter is what, 28 or something. So you might as well say about 28 years this woman hasn't worked. She literally had to go back to work due to the fact, she literally had to go back to work due to the fact that she actually, I mean, I'm sorry, kind of looking both ways, but she literally had to go back to work due to the fact that her husband got into a horrible accident in the front yard. Tree fell, bust her husband in the back, paralyzed her husband. Now, upon her husband being paralyzed, who's going to bring in the money? He has a 401k, he has a nice job and this and that, but who's going to pay the bills now, since he technically don't have a job no more? Once again, he worked a physical job. What would the job be able to give him to do where he can't use, his legs? You know, I don't even know if it's from the waist down or from the neck down. I didn't kind of go into detail with him, but let's just say both scenarios. If it was from the waist down, he's still able to do things with his hands. He can do office work or something like that. Sit at a desk. If it's from the neck down, he can't do anything but just wait on people to serve him hand and foot. He doesn't have the money or the tech like what is the guy name that is in the wheelchair? I can't think his name. But the point of it is, when it comes down to it, with them not having that money, how are they gonna be able to pay the bills on that house? You know, how are they gonna be able to, go forth and take care of their kids? Because we all know when it comes down to it, kids are still in need when they're grown, you know, when they're becoming adults. Kids are always gonna be in need. You have your father that doesn't, work anymore. Your mom has to go back into the workforce. She was a house mom, didn't work, didn't do anything. Now she has to go over, let's just say 25 years and has to go back into the workforce. She really, she can work any job almost to a degree, far as like clerical work or, even fast food or something to that degree. But you got to take into fact, bills got to be paid. There's so much money got to be accounted for with these bills. Even with this guy been on his job all these years, 401k, does he have any life insurance? Does he have any short term or long term disability insurance to where something like this happened, that's going to be able to pay him for the rest of his life? You know, when you think about it, those insurance don't really matter until a situation happen that matters. Same thing. One of my coworkers, um, he ended up dropping some on his foot. He drives trucks. He wasn't even able to drive his 18 wheeler. You know what he had to do? He had to sit out for almost 3 months. They had to do surgery. He had to sit out for 3 months. Luckily, he had the money to sit out. But the thing of it was, he had that short term disability insurance to where he got paid out, you know, a portion of his salary. In some cases, depending on which one you get, they pay the full amount. And in some cases, they don't. What's going on, brother love? I ain't been shouting people out, but I just see you creep in here. You too, Dr. Dunbar. But the thing of it is, men and women both have to have an understanding. And in most cases, like prime example with me, just throw myself out there. I married my wife, and we both had the intent of doing things for a family and being successful. And in those regards, we had to talk. She's not to the point where she wants to, you know, get into a situation to where she don't want to work and do all that. Where most women want to, and they always want to not be able to work, but at the same time, she want to live a certain life, and she knows to live a certain life, we both have to work and maintain the household. Now it gets to the point. Don't get me wrong. If I'm in a position to pay all the bills, like I said, getting to that 100,000, $200,000 status, to where I can take care of things easily, I don't have a problem with her not working. It's not like she's gonna not be doing anything, because then we're gonna have family business to where she's gonna take over that, looking at the books, processing things. Other than that, it's to a point where she's not gonna be going to a job clocking in. She's gonna get paid out of the family account or something like that. But this whole thing of not working and people looking at 50-50 as not being a thing in this day and age, honestly, I know most women, I can honestly say most women over 40 to a degree will love a 50-50 man any day compared to doing everything by themselves, life being so hard and nobody's helping. Because saying the least, when it comes to a man, he's doing it. He know he has to pay bills by himself. If he gets a woman, then so be it. If he don't, he just rough it out. I don't get this standard to where when you get married, the society is putting it on women to when they get married, they shouldn't have to work and do anything. So what were you doing before you met me? Like the saying now is, why you can't keep that same energy? Why you can't work? Why you can't work for something greater? See, society is putting a lot of mindsets into, you know, not thinking right. It's a program that they're putting on people, not going 50-50. It helps who? It doesn't help the woman because if she's not contributing to the bills and something happens to this guy, yeah, you can go ahead and leave him and try to find somebody else. Hey, Tia Mallory did that. See how it's working out for her? You know, you have situations to where you can get people to, try to handle this or try to do that. It's not working out. Like I said, I'm gonna make a part two to this because I gotta move and groove. At the same time, I might even come back tomorrow with this. And I just been doing a little work lately, so that's why I haven't been coming on live, man. I just been pounding that pavement, trying to make this money, get to work early or do some extra things. So, when it comes down to it, it takes a lot to be great. And sometimes you gotta, budget your time, and sometimes you can't do all the stuff that you want to do. But with that being said, shout out to everybody that came through. Once again, you know where I stand. We here and we gone.